have started. Today marks our fourth webinar since we started the webinar series. And on today's agenda, we are going to look at samples of Ghana itineraries plus other countries that we can combine if we are visiting West Africa. And we have the 7 days Ghana tour. We have the Senegal and then Ghana. We also have Ghana, Togo, and Benin. Then we have Ghana, Ivory Coast, Egypt, and then Ghana. And then we also look at some of the accommodation or the options of upgrading the accommodations that have been listed on the itineraries. And all these itineraries that we have listed here can be found on our website, www.continentaltours.com. And kindly note that though we are highlighting these tours or combination tours with Ghana, we are open to customizing any tour that you would like to combine or any other country you would like to combine with Ghana. So far as it is doable. We are on the ground and we know how it works. So once you let us know that you would like to combine probably Burkina Faso and then Ghana, or you want to combine Mali and then Ghana, or even Guinea and Ghana, we would be very happy to give you our professional advice so that you would have the best of experience whilst you are visiting West Africa. All right. So let's go right in, experiencing Ghana. For those of us joining us for the first time, my name is Tina Ross, and I lead the team in Ghana, and I work with Continent Tours. Continent Tours is your premier Africa travel expert, and we have 3 offices spread across West Africa, which are strategically positioned to offer various travel services to your clients. We have offices in Ghana, Senegal, and then Mali, and then a marketing office in the US who support us in all our marketing efforts. And you can follow us on our social media platforms, and we'll be happy to give you updates on any travel information that will be required in planning and then selling West Africa. So as we always do, we would want to give our agents, our individual travelers, the assurance that there are flights that are coming to Ghana from the USA and from Europe. So when we look at the USA, there are direct flights from New York on Delta Airlines, departing from New York in the evening, and by afternoon the next day, the flight will be in Accra. And then we also have KLM connecting through Amsterdam and arriving in Accra in the evening the next day. And then we also have British Airways flying from New York, connecting through London and arriving in Accra in the evening. And amazing news is that we also currently have United Airlines having direct flights from Washington, Dallas, straight into Accra, and they fly about 3 times in a week. And your customers can actually enjoy these direct flights coming to Ghana. And then from Europe too, we have KLM. If you are connecting through the Amsterdam hub, you'll be in Accra in the evening. And then Turkish Airlines connecting through Istanbul in the morning. The next day, you'll be in Accra. And then Brussels Airlines. This list is not limited. It is actually just a few that we have listed here. We have Ethiopian Airlines as well, flying through Addis Ababa. We also do have TAP Portugal flying through Lisbon, as well as El Maroc flying through Casablanca to Accra. So there are various options that you can recommend to your customers based on their budget, based on their convenience, and based on their preferences. Let us look at Ghana Historical Tour. This is one of our very popular tours that we have in Ghana. And this gives you a very good overview of how Ghana is. You get to explore the highlights of Ghana on this 7 days tour. And usually on the day of arrival, we don't conduct any tours. We would like our guests to relax and then refresh and then revive for the next day activities. So the first day upon arrival in Accra, it is a rest day. You are met at the airport, warmly welcomed by your guide, and then you are transferred to your hotel. The check-in process is facilitated by the guide, and then smoothly you are able to checking into your room, you relax, and then we start the next day. And then you spend 2 nights in Accra. So basically, the second night when you are Accra, you explore the Du Bois Center. You also explore the Independence Square, as well as the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, which is the place which has the mortal remains of the first president of Ghana. Then you move to Kumasi, which is the cultural heartbeat of Ghana. And that is the capital of the Ashanti Kingdom as well. And in Kumasi, you spend 2 nights there, and you visit the Menchia Palace, which is the residential place of the king of the Ashanti Kingdom. And then you also explore the Ashanti craft villages. So right on the images or the pictures that you see in this presentation, you will see how a lady is beautifully hand stamping stamps on this fabric. And that is done in Tonso, the craft village, part of the Ashanti craft villages. And then you also continue to Elmina, where you spend another 2 nights. So Elmina Castle, Cape Coast Castle, and then you cap your experience with an adventure to the Kakum National Park. If you want to experience some adrenaline, it's an amazing experience that you cannot miss. So you actually depart from Elmina or Cape Coast right into Accra, and in time for your check-in at the airport for your flight back home. But one thing we can also do is that if you would like to even customize some of these tours, depending on the flights that are arriving, we are able to do that for you, so that we decrease the number of stay in one of the other locations apart from Accra, and then you'll be in Accra a day before your flight in order to make time for your flight, especially if you are departing on Ethiopian Airlines, which leaves at 12 p.m. every day. Then we would advise we customize or we modify the itinerary so that you can be in Accra a day before your flight, and it wouldn't be an inconvenience. Then we move on to our Senegal and then Ghana experience. This is an 11 days experience that you can expose or you can recommend to your clients. And on this note, I would like to introduce my colleague Abou, who would actually give us the highlights of what we can do in Senegal, and then I will continue with the Ghana portion. Abou, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tina. Good morning or just good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you are hearing my voice. This is Abou. I am leading the operations of Continental Tours here in Senegal. And I would like to welcome everyone through this 4th episode of our webinar session for selling West Africa. Among our packages, as Tina told you, we have this one that we call Senegal and Ghana, 11 days, where our guests can stay in Senegal for just 4 days. During their stay in Senegal, they have the possibility to visit this Africa Renaissance Monument that you have on the screen. Located in Dakar, this monument is very symbolic in our country. It was built in 2010. And inside this monument, we have a museum retracing the history of West Africa and also the history of the diaspora. So we call it the Renaissance Africa Monument because it is just a symbol of a reborn Africa from the darkness to the light. As you can see it, we have a lady, we have a man and a child symbolizing a family. So coming from the darkness to the light. This statue is made by bronze, and this is the highest world statue in bronze. So during our tour of Dakar, we can have a stop on this at this place. And after this Africa Monument Renaissance, we can go straight to the next slide, this one, where we have this yellow building, Gorée Island. Gorée is just retracing the history of the slave trade, starting in Senegal or in West Africa from 1535, and taking hand at 1848. When we are going to Gorée Island, it's possible by a ferry. So from the port of Dakar, we just sail 20 minutes to arrive on this small island, measuring from the north to the south, 900 meters, and from the east to the west, just 300 meters. Gorée is very small by his size, but very, very big by its history because of the slave trade. Something around 16 million people crossed their way on the slavery by Gorée Island. So once we arrive on this island, we can have the possibility to visit this house that you have just next to the Monument of Africa. It is the largest slaves house you have on the continent, in West Africa, in Senegal. So inside this house, you can see in the middle of the picture, something look like a windows. It is a door that you call the door of no return. It is a mythic place because once the slave reached this door, it was the beginning of their long travel from Africa to the Americas. So when we are visiting the slave trade, when we are visiting the slave's house, we can visit the cell for the men, the cell for the boys, the cell for the ladies, and the cell for the inert temporary. We have some slaves, when they are arriving from Africa, they can, they have a weight. If it means that if the slave masters catch someone for buying him as a slave, the minimal weight that they imposed was 65 kilograms. And if you don't have this weight, they can keep you at the same place and they force feed you by beans and palm oil for 3 months. This can help you to become strong for being sold as a slave. This house of slaves was built in 1776 by the Portuguese, because the information is the Gorée Island was ruled by the Portuguese, by the Dutch, by the French people, and also by the Spanish people. Having just a half day to visit this slave's house, and after to have a walk around this island to discover the place. So after Gorée, for a half day, we can take the ferry back to Dakar, and the next day we can be on this slide just below that we call the Pink Lake. The Pink Lake is located just 1 hour from Dakar at the north. It is pink, of course, as you can see it on the picture, and depending to the season, because we have inside this lake a bacteria that we call the Artemia salina, and this Artemia salina is secreting this red pigment to survive in this high rate of salt concentration of the lake. Because in the lake, we have a high rate of salt of 380 grams of salt in 1 liter of water. This means that the lake is 11 times more salty than the Atlantic Ocean. At the beginning, it wasn't a lake, it was just a lagoon, and the waters come from the ocean, not far from this place. The Atlantic Ocean is located just 800 meters from the lake. So we have just a narrow sand of dune closing the mouth, linking the lake and the ocean. And finally, by a phenomenon of sedimentation, the salt stay at the same place and the rate did not stop being more and more important. So that's why if people are having fun inside this lake, they can just float on the waters. That's why you can float on the waters by swimming, having your cell phone, or just reading your novels. And the most important thing to know about this Pink Lake is just that the Pink Lake was the final stage of a famous race that we call the Paris-Dakar race. So that's why many people, when they come in Senegal, they ask about to know if the race still happens in Senegal or not. Of course, they stopped the race, this big race from Dakar to Paris, but now we are having anytime, every day, some local race organized at the same place. So the Pink Lake is a very important center of extracting the salt, and this salt is used in our kitchens. And also we export this same salt from the Pink Lake to the countries to melt the snow on the road or just on the airports. So we are selling this salt in the countries of the sub-region, in the fishing port for having smoked fish and dry fish with salt. And also we are trying now to build a thermal center here in the Pink Lake to allow people to come just for healing some troubles of their skin. So, and for 2 or 3 days before going to Ghana, guests can have this possibility to visit those 4 highlights of Senegal of Dakar before they fly over to Ghana. This was just a slight flyover to West Africa, or just to the west tip of West Africa, meaning Dakar, because for information, Dakar is located at the west side of West Africa, and Dakar is also the capital city of Senegal since 1960, with a population of 5 million people. So I'm going to stop there. In case you have some question about my presentation, just drop them in the chat box. We're going to be glad to answer to your question. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Abu. Amazing. And we continue to Ghana on a flight from Accra to Dakar. And there are about two flights that we can select. We have the Air Cote d'Ivoire that flies from Dakar to Accra, and it's about 5 hours. And then we have the Askai airline that is about 5 hours, 20 minutes. You'll be in Accra. And by the time you are in Accra, it will be in the evening. So there is no tour that happens on the day of arrival. And then the next morning, it continues. You explore Accra by visiting one of the historical communities in Accra, which is known as the Jamestown Fishing Community. At this place, you can even have a taste of a local fish that has just been freshly caught and then roasted right there before you. These are some of the experiences you have on our course. And then you also continue to the Teshi Fancy Coffee Shop. A story is told of a carpenter who was given an assignment by a king to manufacture a palanquin. A palanquin is something made from wood. It's something that is used to carry kings and then chiefs during festivals. And unfortunately for the king died when the palanquin was done. And the palanquin was made in the form of a pod, that's a cocoa pod. And unfortunately, when the king died, they decided that they would bury him in the cocoa pod. And as a result, the fancy coffin shop started, where people were manufacturing the special coffins in the form of the professions that they do. Some farmer will tell you that I need, a fish farmer will tell you I need my coffin in a shape of a fish. Someone will tell you, a pastor or a priest, they tell you that I need my coffin in the shape of a Bible. So this coffin shop started, and it has been with us for all these years. And then we also explore the Music Hall Center, which is a center for the Pan-African folk, as well as a place to learn about the African history and then the history behind Pan-Africa. And then we continue to Kumasi, where we also have our experiences of the Menchia Palace, as well as the craft villages of the Ashanti Kingdom. As I initially explained, we do visit the Adamomasi Kente village, where you explore how the rich traditional Kente cloth of the Ashantis are weaved. They are weaved on looms, and then one can also experience how they are done when you are giving a little training on that, or a little lessons on that when you visit. And then we also continue to Cape Coast, where we end our experience of Ghana. We visit the Cape Coast Castle, and it is very important to know that the combination core of Senegal and the Ghana, it's very important because of the door of no return. You will find it in Senegal as well as in Ghana, and then you will understand, or you will learn about the history behind the slave trade, and it will be such an emotional journey as you take this tour. Then we have the Ghana Togo Benin 14 days tour. This will give you a very extensive, detailed experience of these three countries in 14 days. And as it is mostly done, the journey begins in Ghana, it continues to Togo, and then we conclude in Benin. But it also depends on your flight schedule. As I mentioned earlier on, we do sit with you, we do discuss all the details of your travel, so that we make sure that your flights are in line with the itineraries that we are crafting for you. So some people may decide that they will fly into Ghana and fly out of Cotonou. Other people may decide that they will fly from their home countries to Ghana and then fly out of Ghana as well. So depending on your preference, you can fly into Ghana and fly out of Ghana, or you can fly into Ghana and fly out of Benin. And we start in Ghana with the usual highlights, as we have mentioned, doing Accra City Tour, always 2 nights in Accra, because we believe that to have a good feel and a good experience of the capital city of Ghana, at least we should have spent about 2 days. And then we continue to Kumasi, then it continues in that direction. We go to Cape Coast, and then we continue to the Volta region, which is sharing borders with Togo, and that will be the Aflao and then the Lomé border. And then we go through immigration formalities, and it is very important for us to know that for you to do these 3 country tours, we need 3 visas for all these countries. Benin, we can process an e-visa for Benin. Ghana, we usually recommend that you apply from the nearest embassy or consulate in your home country. And then Togo, we can also assist you to process it right from their embassy in Accra. And we need to allow about a day to be able to process your visa to Togo. We can do an express service for you, and then there will not be a challenge with that. So in Togo, the highlights of Togo include the National Museum, where you explore the history behind Togo. You also visit the Grand Marché or the fetish market, where you will find healing portions. You also find items that the local fetishists or the herbalists use in healing their sick patients. And you can also find other items that you would want to take back home as a souvenir. Then we continue to the slave house in Abou, which is also a very wonderful experience. And right from Abou, you can take a ferry into Togoville, where we would also experience the slave history as well as the voodoo religion of the people of Togo. Then we end the tour in Benin. Benin has Ouidah, and Ouidah is actually the capital seat of the voodoo religion. So any experience coming to Benin, you wouldn't want to miss an experience of the voodoo religion. And it ends right in Benin. And from Lomé, we drive, and kindly note that these tours are done by land. So right from Accra, we drive and into Lomé, and then from Lomé, we also drive into Benin. But the first point of entry is Ouidah, where we experience the Temple of the Pythons. And this temple is noted for over hundreds of pythons that are harmless, and they are regarded as sacred. And one can even wrap a python around their neck. And they are actually kept in the temple to be worshipped by the people of Ouidah. And then we also have the sacred forest. You also have the opportunity of experiencing that. And then we also have the Ouidah Museum, as well as the Door of No Return, also in Benin, which shows the slave history and the slave trade that happened in West Africa. And it is very also important to know that one of the highlights of visiting Benin has to do with Gambia. Gambia is regarded as the Venice of Africa because it has houses built on silt right on the lake, which is known as Lake Nokoi. And you would actually see the locals the locals selling their wares, as well as some artisans also doing their stuff. And these are very wonderful experiences that you can have. You can also visit the Dankota market right from your visit to the Gambia. And this is an experience that you don't want to miss. Then we proceed to Ghana, Ivory Coast. Also a wonderful experience in visiting West Africa. You can put it on your travel bucket list. Once you are traveling to West Africa, you would want to consider a combination tour of Ghana and then Ivory Coast. This is done in 10 days, and it can be done by land or it can be done by air. And as usual, we do Ghana, you fly into Ghana, and then you continue to Ivory Coast. In Ghana, we have the 2 days in Accra, then we continue to Kumasi for another 2 days, and then 1 night in Cape Coast, where we do the Asen Manso Slave River site, where our ancestors used to have their final bath before they were taken to the Americas through the Cape Coast Castle. And then we also cap the experience or the adventure with a visit to the Kaku National Park, where we have the canopy walkway. And then in Ivory Coast, it is important to note that it's about 4 days, 3 nights in Ivory Coast, and you do visit some of the highlights of Ivory Coast. And kindly note that we also have separate itineraries on a visit to Ivory Coast. We have about 6 days, we have about 7 days, 10 days, depending on your time, the time that you have on your hands, and we are able to do or create or craft an itinerary for you or a program for you in Ivory Coast to experience a much detailed itinerary, a much detailed visit to Ivory Coast. And in Ivory Coast, we are looking at a visit to the Anisu Fetish village, where you experience the village dance. And you can see from the pictures here how the women have cloth strapped around their breast area, and then they are having those fetish dance. And then we continue on a visit to see the king of the community, who is King Nyadon. And then we also continue to Yamoussoukro, where we visit the sacred crocodile pond, as well as the cathedral, which is one of the famous cathedrals we have in the world, which is the Notre Dame, sorry. And these are some of the places that we visit on a combination tour, Ghana and then Ivory Coast in 10 days. And just like I mentioned, you can do it by land, because right from Cape Coast, we have about 3 hours or 3 to 4 hours drive to the western part of Ghana, which shares border with Ivory Coast. That's the Elubo border, and you can drive into Ivory Coast. Or you can do it by land. So you drive back to Accra for the night, and the next morning you fly on Air Cote d'Ivoire, which is just about an hour flight into Abidjan. And you'll be received by our local representatives in Abidjan to have a wonderful experience of Ivory Coast as well. Then we have Egypt and Ghana tour. It's always amazing experiences. The list is endless. I believe that we are getting excited about visiting West Africa and doing some combination tours of West Africa. So with Egypt and Ghana tour, this is a 12-day tour which begins in Egypt. This is because you can have Egypt Air flying into Cairo from New York, and then you would also have a flight from Cairo to Accra on Egypt Air, and then from Accra to Cairo, then to New York. So it makes this combination tour a wonderful choice for you to pick if you would like to explore these 2 countries in 12 days. So in Egypt, as we may all be well aware of, Egypt is well known for its famous pyramids in Giza, and then we have the Nile River cruise experiences, one of the world-class experiences you can have. And then we also have the visit to the Ancient Museum in Egypt, in Cairo, sorry, and then a day return trip to Alexandria, where we visit the Library of Alexandria. And it's done 4 days, 3 nights. We spend 4 days, 3 nights in Cairo. We don't sleep any other place, but all the night stay are done in Cairo. And depending on your preference of hotel, if you would like us to upgrade it, we are able to do that for you. And we can do a minimum departure of about 2 people can do this tour. And then we continue to Accra, and you have direct flight on Egypt Air right into Accra, and you continue with the tour of Ghana, visiting the main highlights of Ghana, as we have already mentioned, 2 nights in Accra. Then we continue to Kumasi. Then we conclude in Cape Coast, where we explore the slave trade as well as the slave history, and then among other experiences that you can have in Cape Coast, such as the Kapun National Park, the adventure experience on the canopy walk. And these are some of the things that we can look forward to when we are visiting West Africa. But this experience is not limited to these itineraries that we have listed here. As I've mentioned, there are a number of experiences that your clients or yourself can have, or your family can even have, and you will sure remember, or you have a very memorable experience, and you will never forget about this visit to West Africa. So looking at some of the accommodation or the hotels that we can upgrade the current hotels we have on the itineraries. That is not to say that the accommodation we have on the itineraries are not good. They are clean, they are neat, they are comfortable, and as much as possible, we would want it to be suitable for all budgets. But if your customers are looking for a more luxury stay, it is important to know that we are able to upgrade them to these other hotels or these hotels that we have in Ghana. And kindly note that in Ghana, we only have 5-star and 4-star, sorry, 3 5-star hotels in Accra. When you go outside Accra, you find 4-star hotels basically in Kumasi. And then when we go outside Kumasi, it will be 3-star accommodation. But these actually are comfortable, very clean, and they are up to standard. And your customers will sure have a wonderful stay home away from home. And you look on my slide, we have the Kempinski Gold Coast City Hotel. We also have the Labadi Beach Hotel. Usually, I recommend the Labadi Beach Hotel when my customers are looking at the family type of experiences. The setting is more suitable to families and small groups that want to have that homely feel. And it's amazing to have this, and it is right by the Atlantic Ocean, so it's by the beach, and you get to enjoy the Atlantic Ocean, because they also have their private beach. The Kempinski Hotel do have, they are located more in the heart of Accra, and it's also very good spot to have the luxury that your customers or yourself you are looking for. And then the Ambassador, the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel is also a 5-star hotel, and you can also upgrade the current hotels we have on the itineraries to this. And we have the recently added Accra Marriott Hotel, which is just about 3 years old since it was built, and it is 4+ star. It has the quality of a 5-star. I believe that with time, it would also definitely meet up with the 5-star qualification or category. Then in Senegal, I don't know if Abou, you can take the hotels in Senegal to share more light on that, what we can have in Senegal.
Yes, thank you very much, Tina. That's the same as here in Senegal. Even if the customers are traveling in Dakar, they have the possibility to stay in some 5-star hotels. There you have Radisson. It is built in Dakar and just from the Atlantic Ocean. At the same place, from the center of Dakar. As Radisson, Pullman Teranga is at the same place, meaning something around 2 kilometers from the one to the others. And also Terubi. So Terubi is a 5-star hotels, Pullman, Radisson, and we have 2 more hotels that we can use as 5-star hotels in Dakar. So as 5-star hotels, we have other ones which are 4 stars or just 3 stars hotels. All are located in the same capital city of Dakar.
Thank you very much, Abou. All right. So this is a general information on what most of our itineraries or our tours include. it is very good to note what our travel packages include and what it does not include. We have meeting and assistance upon arrival and departure. And it's always very important to know that you are well taken care of on your first day of arrival in a country you are visiting for the first time. We have our guides and our drivers meeting your guests or meeting yourself at the airport, and they will receive you warmly. Usually after you have gone through the immigration procedures and then you have cleaned your bag. If you also require a VIP service, we also have this at additional cost, which can be booked for you. This would include meeting you right at the time of arriving at the airport, from your boarding, disembarking from your flight, and then you are received, you are assisted through immigration formalities, you are also assisted through customs, and then the professional, the staff will pick your bags or your luggages for you, and then escort you to your guide and your driver who are also waiting for you at the airport. And then we also have the round trip airport and then hotel transfers. That is, you will not be on your own. You will not be wondering if I have to wait for the hotel's shuttle, which are usually having to wait for all other guests that are staying at the hotel. This is actually a private transfer service that is booked for you and your guests. So it is actually a round trip airport and hotel transfer, and your guide will be with you in the vehicle, and they will transfer you to your hotel. Then we have the hotel accommodation that have been listed on all the itineraries, right from all the places or the locations you are going to visit. The hotels are booked in addition to the cost that or the price that will be shared with you. And then we also have transportation and private vehicles. This is to make, it is important to mention that you are not going to be sharing the vehicle with other people, except in cases where these are group tours and you have decided to book onto the group tours. But if it is a private tour or something that you are booking for your guests and you have decided that this should be a private tour for your clients, these are private vehicles that we are providing for your clients, and they can be saloon car, they can be 4x4 vehicles, they can be minivans, they can be 30-seater buses, or even luxury coaches, depending on your preference and then your taste. And then we also have the experienced tour guide who stay with your guests throughout your visit or throughout your stay in each of the countries that we book your tours. And then we have the admission to the listed sites as well as activities that have been listed on the itinerary. There are instances that clients would like to do some activities on their own. If they would like to do that option, we are flexible to allow that customization so that it doesn't have to be very stringent or rigid when it comes to our itineraries. And then we also have assistance with the visa application. This has to do with providing you with all the supporting letters that the embassy may need, or hotel confirmation letters. We would actually contact the hotel, get all the confirmation letters for you, because most of the embassies require that you provide them with visa support letters as well as hotel confirmation letters. So we do well to provide these letters for you so that you can swiftly apply for your clients' visas. And what are usually not included in our tours are the flights. They will come in the form of the international flights, that is the flights from your various countries to Africa, as well as any regional or domestic flights. Where you would like us to include them, we would code them separately for you so that you would advise whether it should be, we should go right ahead with booking. And also sometimes we do advise that, especially when we don't have a group, it's very difficult or challenging for us to get very competitive flights or airfares from the airlines for you. I would say that it may even be your flight, the flight that you may get from online could even be cheaper than what we may get from here. But where we have group departures and you like us to book your group flights or your group airfares for you, we can actually talk to the airlines and arrange to get very good group flight for you or good group airfares for you, so that that hassle is taken off from you. And then we also don't include the cost of the visa. That is also the responsibility of the guest. And then travel insurance. And we all agree that with COVID-19 still with us, it has even become more important that when we are traveling, we have our travel insurance taken care of before we depart from our countries. And then gratuity or tips for your for service providers or for tour guides and then drivers. And then any other meals that are not listed. Usually for less than 8 people, we would give you prices excluding dinners. But for groups of 10 or more, we would recommend that we add dinners to the meals. So it will be breakfast at the hotel, and then some of the dinners at the hotel, and then some of the dinners outside in a local restaurant to experience the nightlife of the various locations that we go to. But if we are looking at just 2 people, 3 people, it is usually, we would want to be flexible so that people can decide where they would want to, because it is much easier to manage just a few people dinners than if they are a group. And then we also look at the personal expenses, and then as well as COVID-19 related tests where it is required. And then some of the things that we'd like you to check before you travel are as follows: check in with your doctor, and then you also need to bring along colored copies of your passport. There are some places that you need to show an ID, such as some of the established places where you can exchange your monies. They would require that you provide a copy of your identification card, or even to some of the hotels, they may also require these things. So it's good you bring a copy with you. And then you also need a copy of your passport with someone you trust at home, and they can easily fall on that should there be the need for your passport to get replaced. And then you also look up the monetary conversion before you go, and how much it is to the local currency in the country where you are visiting. And then you also have to make sure that you talk to your bank so that you are assured that the credit card or the Visa card you have works in the country that you are going to. If not, and they can give you a new card, then that would be arranged successfully. And then you'd also have to look at exchanging some of your currency into a local card so that you can buy, because in most of our markets, they will not accept the international currencies. They would rather prefer the local currencies. And you can also not buy with your card in our markets, except in the hotels and then in some established restaurants. But for most of the places that we visit, they will expect that you pay in the local currency where you are visiting. And then you also talk to your bank, just like I mentioned, on your travel plans, so that any necessary arrangement that needs to be put in place for you will be done. And then it is very essential that we pack an extra bag with a set of clothes, because sometimes, I mean, there are some circumstances that can be beyond your control, like delayed flight, or even your bag not coming on the flight, and you are now wondering, how am I going to make up with the little time I have before my bag arrives? So it is always good to have a carry-on bag with extra set of clothes. So these are some of the things that the list is endless. And one thing we usually do is to share a travel guide or a travel checklist with your clients or yourself, to share with your clients when they are traveling to the various countries that we have our hopes, so that they are well prepared for the trip that they are making to West Africa. Thank you very much. This ends our webinar, webinar 4. And at this point, I would like to take any questions or suggestions or comments.
This is Carmen Smith. Just quick question. Are any aspects of the tours substitutable? So if someone didn't want to go to one part, or is that something that could be either customized or substituted out? Is that a possibility?
Yes, yes, this is something that can be done. If somebody does not want to do Ghana and then Senegal, but wants to do Senegal and Gambia, we can do that arrangement. And most definitely, the price may be affected depending on the countries that you would like to substitute or the aspects of the tour that you would like to customize.
And one quick question. Thank you. One quick question related to that. So if we wanted to do a customized tour for a customer, how much lead time do you typically need to put that together?
Depending on your departure dates, it is usually good if you, I will give an example. If you have a tour in July, we are currently in June, and it's almost about ending. It is usually very good for us to get a prior notice as soon as possible to be able to do these changes, because we would have done advanced bookings of your tours. And it is part of our payment plan. We ask that payments are done 45 days prior to arrival. So meaning that we would prefer that we get prior notice as much as, let me say, a minimum of 30 days to do the necessary changes of, especially when you are changing or you are substituting a tour with another. If it has to just do with we changing parts of an existing itinerary, that may not be a problem. But having to change from one country to the other tour, then we would require that at least 30 days would be good for us.
Thank you.
Lloyd, do you want to add anything?
No, Tina. The last question concerns lead time for to customize a tour. Was that it?
Or to change a tour, one tour to another.
You mean, say that again, please, Tina?
I will give an example. If I have the Ghana 8 days tour, but the person would like to replace it with the Senegal 8 days tour.
Well, we can do it in as short a time as the travel agent or the customer has, because remember, we're right there on the ground, and providing we can get a hotel accommodation, we can do it in a minimum number of days. I used to tell people that based on the arrangements, the infrastructure we have in West Africa, if your client is on the plane arriving in West Africa tomorrow morning, and you tell us here today that you want us to meet them at the airport and take them to a hotel, we can do that when they land. And that's a little bit of exaggeration, but not quite. We can do that. And so we don't need a lot of time to accommodate emergency situations. If somebody wants to give a certain number of days, can we do it in a certain number of days? Ask us, and more than likely we'll be able to accomplish it.
Thank you, Lloyd. I hope we've answered your question.
You did, and I just wanted to add to that, or I just asked that. So if we say we were being reasonable and not an emergency situation, and we really wanted to sit down and look at, I know that you're on the ground and have different parts, but really wanted to customize it for that particular client, would you suggest at least 60 days, or for something that would be ideal?
Oh, for customization, we can do it 3 days.
Okay.
For a 3-day period, we can do this. So
Okay.
that we have the best of experience for the customer. Nothing rushed. Something that suits the customer specific interests.
Thank you. You've answered my questions. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
And Tina, I didn't get here when you started. I, I was wondering whether you mentioned the popularity of these combination tours, did you?
Yes, Lloyd.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That we've seen quite a bit of interest in the combination Egypt and Ghana,
Yeah.
Senegal and Ghana, and or all-time most popular Ghana, Togo, Benin.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you mentioned that one of the good things about the combination Ghana, Togo, and Benin, people do not have to get on a plane and go anywhere. Of course, when the borders are open, we can go straight across from Ghana to Togo to Benin, and we can also customize that tour so that travelers arrive in Ghana and depart from Benin. They don't always have to come back to Ghana.
Exactly.
And similar happens with Ghana and Ivory Coast. They can arrive in Ghana, go across the border into Ivory Coast, and final departure from Ivory Coast, as well as they can fly between those two countries, do the short 50 minutes flight between those two countries.
Exactly.
It's most convenient to arrive in Ghana and depart from Ivory Coast, just as what we notice most people do for Egypt and Ghana. They arrive in Egypt by sometimes British Airways, spend their time there, do the 4.5 hours flight. I think it takes about 4.5 hours on Egypt Airways, nonstop from Cairo to Ghana. And then when they're departing, if they're using British Airways, for example, they depart out of Ghana and do not have to go back to Egypt. Similar happens with Senegal and Ghana. One of the airlines that we use to do Senegal and Ghana quite frequently is Delta. Delta takes you into Senegal and takes you out of Ghana. And we've seen occasionally people prefer to go into Ghana and out of Senegal, and we can do that also. All we have to do is reverse the process where they start in Ghana and finish the tour in Senegal.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I think, Maureen, you raised your hand. You have
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. Great information as always. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. I have a question about the tipping. Can you give us an idea of what the standard tipping is like for in restaurants, for our guides, for our drivers?
Tina, I think you probably want to mention the restaurant, and it's always a delicate, it's not scientific, where the guide and the drivers are concerned. Tina, I'll let you mention the tips that do not include driver and guide, and then I will mention driver and guide tipping.
All right, okay, sure. In Ghana, unlike other places, especially when you go to the restaurants and the hotels, tipping is not mandatory, but it can be given out of appreciation for an extra job done. So we don't really have a standard set aside or set up for tipping when it comes to going to the restaurant, being the visit to the attraction sites. So it all depends on the guest and what they think would be okay for them to do. And but usually I know that someone may decide to tip about $1, somebody may decide to tip about $5, depending on what, but it all depends on the discretion of the clients. And then the tour guide and the driver too, that is also up to the discretion of the client, depending on how best you are impressed with their services, which of course you will always be at the end of the trip. So you want to look at what the group can afford. And sometimes you look at the number of people in the group. If two people, you can decide that they are tipping, let's say the guide about $30 to $50, or they will decide to tip him about $80 to $100. It all depends on them exactly. And then I think Lloyd will add more information on this. Yeah.
Yes, this is always a delicate situation, and I hope nobody is listening who have acted as a tour guide, or else they're not going to like me from now on.
Abou don't like you.
No, Abou has acted like as a tour guide at some way. Abou has experience as a tour guide. Yes. Now, let's. When I talk about tip, I'm talking as if we're dealing with a group, whether it's a small group of 8 or a large group of 30. And the first part of the first people that get tips, I'm going to talk about the on-site guides. For example, if you do a 7-night, 8-day trip to Ghana, most likely it's Accra, then Kumasi, then Cape Coast, and back to Ghana. And going through that process, there may be about 7 or 8 sites that there are on-site guides who are full-time employees, but they are used to visitors being generous. And when the visitors are leaving as a group, they give them a tip. If you don't give them a tip, they still get their monthly salary. They're career employees at that location. But I do know that most of our groups, especially those from North America, it's a part of the whole process for them to make sure the service providers, they show their gratitude at the end. And so this is always, it's an important thing for group leaders and for travel agents who send their groups. Now, for those on-site guides, depending on how many people are in the group, if you tip that on-site guide who's at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial, I would say, based on the group, Tina, what, $30 to $50 for the whole group, depending on the size of the group?
Exactly. That would be a good tip.
For that on-site guide, it could be much less. Usually you're probably spending no more than 2 hours in the care of that guide.
It could be 10, it could be 15, up to $30.
Okay.
That is what I recommend.
And now, in most cases, we have, say, an 8-day tour, 8-day, 7-night tour in Ghana, for example. We have one guide and one driver, same driver who meets the group at the airport. The driver and guide are the same people who are going to be with the group throughout. And, they make sure that you're safe. And though tipping is not mandatory, it's expected, if only because they have gotten used to receiving tips from the group. Generally, the driver is a full-time employee, but a lot of times the guides are employed per trip. The tipping is a lot more important and a lot more crucial to the livelihood of the guide than it is to the driver, because when the driver is not carrying vacation travelers, tourism travelers, they're doing something else, and they're a monthly salaried person. And before I talk about the amount, it's always best for the group to collect the tip and hand it individually to the guide and the driver. Never ask the guide to share it with the driver or the driver to share it with the guide. And it's best done at the end of the time when you're going to see that guide. If you're going tomorrow morning, you may want to do that tonight. So it's done at the end of the trip. And the amount that is contributed per traveler, per day, per group member per day, I would say it's dependent somewhat on the size of the group. Because if you are 30 in that group on that one bus, and it's an 8-day tour, and everybody contributes $5 per day, 5 8's 40, to be shared between the guide and the driver. We say that the driver should get about 30-35%, and the rest goes to the guide. But since it's a big group, if it were $3 per day, that's $24 per person, and it's 30 people. That's a handsome, significant payday for both the guide and the driver. But if it's only 3 of you, or it's only 2 of you, you can see where the amount each person contributes per day should be, a little bit more, because if you only contribute $3 per day, that's what is it? 8 3's 24. And it's 2 people to share between the guide and the driver. They won't show it, but they won't be happy. So you can see where that amount should be stepped up quite a bit. And I'm really not going to give specific numbers now, because I don't know. We need to take a survey one time of these guys and ask them what are considered a reasonable tip from a group of 20 people or 30 people compared to 2 people that they're with for 8 or 10 days. And unfortunately, that's almost a non-answer there. But it takes, in East Africa on the safaris, I think those people have more specific suggestions. We haven't come up with a real good recommendation yet. We can only say that the tipping is more important to the guide than to the driver, and so that's why the guide should get more. And we always recommend that you don't give one to share. It's you hand it directly to each person individually, or else you could have stories there. So to avoid that, I wish I could give a more specific answer about tips, but you can see where a large group, the amount contributed per person per day would be, significantly lower than when you only have 2 people.
Yeah. All right, Lloyd, thank you very much. That was very detailed, and
I just would like to add something.
Okay, Abu.
Because often the guests are asking about to know how much to give, but we have a symbolic phrases in Senegal or in West Africa to tell them, that the tip arrive at the last time. The most important is the service that you give to your guests. The fact that you are making to make them enjoying your travel. Because some people can give you money, but the most important is to feel that the guests were very happy during their trip. That's why when they ask about how much we should give, at last we tell them, no, it's depends to you. That's the heart which are giving. So you can separately give them that you are giving to the driver and the rest that you are giving to the guide. But you never fix an amount here. The most important is just to make the customers enjoying the destination or just enjoying the services that we provide for them.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Abou. Yeah, most definitely. I think that is probably why it's very hard for us to set particular specifics down that this is how much you need to pay as a tip, or this is what you need to pay as a gratuity. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you are looking at how satisfied your customers are. And it's amazing. In West Africa in general, even in cases where you have homestay experiences, people may even decide that they will give your bed, they will give their bed for you to sleep on so that you are comfortable than you sleeping out in a hotel. People have just a single room, but when they have a guest, they would rather want to have open their arms up to the guests to receive them, make sure that they are comfortable. Even if they have to sleep on the floor so that their guests are comfortable, they will do that. So we are much concerned about the experiences the customers have, and the tips would have to come from your own discretion. How you think would be okay for a tip, that would be well appreciated as well. Do we have any other questions? Just before
Yes. Yes, this is Claudia.
Hi, Claudia.
I have three questions. Number one, this webinar series has been great. Will you be offering this series again? Because I'm talking to other travel advisors and they will be interested. That's number one. Number two, what is the group size for you to negotiate airfare? How many should be in that group so they can get a good rate? And number three, I'm doing it all at one time. Number three, this is for Lloyd because I'm in the New Jersey area, and I would reach out to him. Do you do quotes, personalized quotes that have all the beautiful pictures that you have been showing in the webinar in your quotes that we can get? All right, those are my questions.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Yes. To answer
First question, Tina.
Yes, Lloyd, go ahead.
No, Tina, go ahead. What was the first question again? Remind me.
Yes, the first question had to do with, if I am correct, it has to do with the webinars, if we will run them again for travel agents, other travel agents that would be interested, because Ms. Claudia has travel agents who would be interested to enjoy this webinar.
So are you going to answer that, Tina?
Sure, yes. What is happening is that we have all the webinars that we have done so far. To the end of the series, we have recorded them and they have been uploaded on our YouTube channel. So anybody that would want to listen to it again would be able to do that by visiting our YouTube channel. And any subsequent webinars we are going to have will be an advanced course. We are going to dig much deeper into the other places like unexplored West Africa. We do have about 24 days tour that visit the very hidden gems of West Africa. These are some of the areas we'll be looking at when we want to run the webinar series again. We would want to do it in an advanced course. So I would say that for any travelers or travel agents that are interested in this webinar, they can kindly visit our YouTube page and they will find all the videos uploaded there and they can listen to it all throughout. And then I think the second question has to do with the airfare.
Okay. So here's, let me just add something here, Tina.
All right.
Or I hope you folks haven't changed that, but our plans were that we would be repeating this after the 6 webinars are complete. We will take a break. We will improve on the presentation and we will do them again. We will continuously be doing these 6-part webinars so that people can either do it fresh as a refresher, or new people will come on. So I think that's what Claudia was asking.
Okay.
And yes, we will be doing it again in addition to what you folks have saved on our YouTube page. That's one. And I think my brain is coming back now. I heard something about the number of seats that are needed for negotiate airline rates. You know, of course, most of us in the business know nowadays that for the airlines, their group, they consider a group 10 people. And so if there's are a minimum of 10 people traveling together, we can negotiate a group rate where they give us a price. The tax vary a little bit. They could give us a price. They'll give us a definite group rate for people traveling 11 months out or 10 months or 11 months out, depending on the airline. And they'll fix the price. They'll state the tax. But of course, we know if there's a problem in the Middle East just before we have to issue the ticket, then the tax may go up $10, $20. If there's a real problem, it could go up by $50. And so that's one of the few times we have control over the airfare when it's a group. So we negotiate for at least 10 people and they require a deposit. Most times it's not a significant deposit. It could be as little as $100 or $150 per seat, depending on the airline. You pay that deposit and they give you maybe 30 days or 45 days before the group travel to pay the rest of the money and issue the ticket. Years ago, when you had a group of 40 or 30 people traveling together, the airlines would stumble over themselves to give you a comp, and that they don't do that kind of stuff. Very rarely they do, and it depends on the airline. And if they're giving you any kind of comp, they'll say, okay, you pay the taxes only. But in order to get that one comp from a group of at least maybe 30 or so, you have to issue those tickets, not 45 days before, but they probably want you to issue those tickets 60 or 90 days before to benefit from that comp. And you know that I've seen airline group rates right now where the ticket is $700, but the tax is $800 and odd dollars. So you'll have to pay the taxes. So yes, we can, if it's a minimum of 10, we can negotiate group rates. And the third question said something, and you directed that question to me, but it really should be directed to Tina and her team there, because they're the ones who have all the people on site that can put these pictures in the itinerary. So when you come to me, I'll just send it back over there to them and say, this is what Claudia wants. Put this itinerary together and put these pictures in there and lock it in and send it to her, and they'll do that. So yes, we can create your itinerary with those pictures in that.
Yes, perfectly answered, Lloyd. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent.
All right, Claudia, thank you. Okay, so we will have our fifth webinar on next week, same time at 10 a.m. EST and then 2 p.m. GMT. And first webinar will be concentrating or focusing more on Senegal and Gambia, other areas around that area. So we are going to explore more. This time around, we'll be going to Senegal. You'll be going to Gorée Island, you'll be going to Dakar, Sali, the very beautiful beaches in Senegal, and then among other unique experiences that one can have in Senegal. So we will be very happy that you join us next week, same time, as we sail through Senegal and then Gambia and other places around that area. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy yourself, and I wish you a very wonderful day further.
Thank you, everyone,
so much. Thank you.
and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Great session.
All right.
Thank you.
See you next week.